Welcome to the next lesson, guys. So now this is basically the second module, and this is all about just the navigation, kind of getting you aware. One thing about Google Ads is that they have created this whole terminology within their own ecosystem, right? Of what a keyword is, ad groups, campaigns, extensions, audiences, demographics, placements, all of these different things. Not only that, they have an entire reporting section as well on the back end. And just even how to kind of navigate the overall system can be overwhelming at first. So what I wanted to do before we dive into building out any campaigns or anything like that, I wanted to go ahead and just make you a quick navigation video so that we can walk through each one of the processes that I go through to kind of set these campaigns up, where the menus are that you need to click, what columns you can add, all this different terminology. And then we're going to follow it up at the end of this module with an entire vocabulary and kind of FAQ doc that will give you a cheat sheet on the most relevant terms and most widely used terms within the account. So I'll go ahead and minimize the window here, and we're going to dive into the navigation. So basically from your home screen right here, now I've taken an account that I use the terms and sections, but I talk about once in here what the overall structure looks like, right? So at the top you have basically your AdWords bar, right? Now up here, this is your account access area. Now if you have an MCC like I do, then you'll have multiple accounts, and the MCC is the Managed Client Center, right? Is what it's called. It's for managing multiple campaigns, multiple accounts at once. Now for you, it's just going to be like your AdWords account right here, all right? Is what it's going to be. Now once you start getting additional clients, additional accounts, within your company or anything along those lines, then you probably have more of a hierarchy up here. But what you'll notice on this top bar is you have this go-to, which is kind of like the search box, right? So you can do, search history. And it'll give you everything within history, right? Keywords, or let's see, change history is one, that you can definitely visit a lot of times. The change history will show you every single thing that ever happens in the account. Now, there is some exceptions with things that you will create within the shared library, but overall, the change history will give you everything within budget changes, keyword changes, ad text changes, pauses, activating campaigns, deleting, all that fun stuff. And it tags the users who actually completes the action signature with their email on it, right? So that's something you do. But you can go through here and just look at, it's kind of a quick access menu. So like, search terms, right? And then it'll basically jump me right into the search term section, right? Without me having to go in there. So that's kind of a quick access menu. And you've also got your report section right here, which we're going to go in more in depth with that here in a second. The next lessons. And then with the tools section as well, this is another valuable menu up here, which that's what your next lesson is all about, is all about how you utilize those and what those each sections are. But this one, I just kind of want to go through the main dashboard. So we're going to start over here on the left-hand side, right, where you've got your all campaigns. If you click this button, it's going to go to the very top, basically the account level. Right, so you have different hierarchies within the account, right? You have the account level, which is the overarching level that kind of shows everything. And then you have your campaigns level. Then you have your ad groups level. And then you even have your keyword level or your audience level, demographic. This is more the targeting level, right? Is what this is interpreted as, where this still houses the targeting and the ads. And then, everything is always contained in the campaign. So the hierarchy as it rolls down, your account is your top level. Right? And if we go to like recommendations, or we'll go to, let's say we go to settings, here's a good example, right? So you've got your campaign settings, and then you've got your account settings, right? This is the top level within the account. And all these different settings you can adjust, from tracking, auto targeting, message reporting, call reporting. Now, if you use these, if you have any settings here, they're going to supersede anything unless it's set at the campaign or ad group level. All right, so any campaign you create within the account is automatically going to have all of these settings assigned, right? And one thing in here that I always make sure to do is it's under this account settings, and it's the top setting. And you want to do this within all your accounts, because this is one of those things that is very, very valuable, for the simple fact that you don't get surprises, right? This is the ad suggestions, right? It's under the account settings menu. Go down to ad suggestions. It's change how suggestions are applied for this customer, right? What they want you to do basically is they're going to make some recommendations within this tab. And we'll go through this, additionally within further lessons about how to utilize that tab properly. But there's a lot of things within that particular tab that they don't necessarily have your best interest in mind, or they're maybe against counterproductive to a particular strategy that you're applying. Right. So what I always like to do is I like to always come in here first thing. And again, it's in the settings menu, go to account settings and go to add suggestions and hit don't automatically apply add suggestions. Right. You can put a reason in there. You don't have to. As you see, it's optional. It's optional. I just basically tell them that, bottom line, I want more control. Right. I'm concerned about performance. I want more control. Right. So, some of their stuff is in your best interest. Some of it doesn't even apply, right? A lot of times they'll recommend that you want to be opted into partner sites and search partner networks when, my campaigns that I run for the call warranty stuff or car warranty, they're all call only campaigns. So they don't even appear on partner sites. So it's really just kind of a mute point. But let's say it's something where they want to add a bunch of keywords to my ad group because they feel that they would be valuable targeting. Well, that's something, if I don't address it within 14 days, that they'll just magically apply all those into the campaign. They could be broad match keywords, and completely screw up the entire performance of the campaign. So I'm always above the control freak kind of factor. So I always want to make sure that I have my suggestions turned off, right? So that's one of the first things that you want to do. And then you'll have your campaign settings within the accounts where you can go in here and you can choose your individual campaign and it'll go to the hierarchy. But, from the overall dashboard, how this is going to work, right, is you've got your all campaigns here. You've got your campaigns that are actually active, or you can do all campaigns that are enabled but removed, right? It'll bring back my campaign that I killed, right? Same thing with ad groups. So you can address the hierarchy and what shows up on this side. But once you click on this, then it's going to kind of break down everything you see here to be significant or to be only highlighting this particular campaign, right? So if I want to get back to the top, I'll click all campaigns. Now from that level, you have into the right-hand side, right? You have your overview, which gives you kind of a top level view of your impressions, your clicks, which again, you can adjust all of these metrics in here to whatever you find valuable. And you can also add, change the hourly, weekly. There's no data in here since we don't have that option in here. Now, the other thing that you're going to see in here as well is the date range in the upper right-hand corner. Now, these are two filtering factors that you can go into. You have all these preset metrics that will tell you exactly, what day range you want to go into. And you also have a nice compare feature down here where you can turn that off or on, and it'll compare previous features within the same ad groups or campaigns. And I'll show you exactly how that looks whenever we get down to a campaign tabs here in a second. So, but from this top level, again, you just see like a top level understanding of what it is, right? Campaigns, keywords, what your landing pages are doing, just all the data that's relevant, right? Then you have that dreaded recommendations tab. Now, like I said, this is something we have an entire module on how to actually use this properly to make sure. So don't jump ahead of yourself and start getting in here and listening exactly to Google, because you want to make sure that when you're starting these campaigns out, that you have the most control possible, right? Now, as we go into the next little portion is the campaigns part, right? If you click on campaigns, what you're going to see is all of these different campaigns that are active within the account. Now, you can filter down, you can click on one of them and it'll go back down into that. And you can do one of two ways to get back up, right? You can either go here or you can hit the back button and then click on campaigns again. But you also have a nice little handy thing on the campaigns tab that's the auction insight. Now, this is a handy tab that tells you more about your competitive searches, right? So who are you competing with, particularly in the auction? And I go more in depth in that in later lessons as well. But for the main dashboard, the main things you need to know about here, and these are going to be slightly different on each one of these tabs, whether or not you're on the campaigns tab, the ad groups tab, the ad extensions tab, the landing pages tab, the keywords, audience, demographic, and so on, right? So any of these top kind of placement groups or targeting groups or structures are going to have these similar menus where you have a search menu that can search and filter down to what you really want to look for. You have segments where you have none. You can do time of day where it splits out the data according to hour, day, week, month, quarter. And again, that has to be appropriate to, you can't do quarter and only be looking at the last 7 days, right? So you kind of have to keep that in mind. You also have click type, which will show you, whether or not it was a headline whether or not it was an extension click, something along those lines. You have your conversions as well. So you can click out to the right here and it shows you the different types of conversions: actions, category, source, days to conversion, days to conversion or adjustment, and then device, network. Device is going to tell you, obviously, desktop, mobile, or tablet. The network is either Google, Display, or Search Partners. With this particular campaign, because it's a search campaign, it's going to say, what network it showed up. The top versus other is basically the percentage of time that you showed up on top, right? The top, or other partner networks, those kind of things. The next thing is the modify columns portion, right? So you have a bunch of different metrics that you can put in here, right? The main metrics you really want to key on before you really start diving into really combining some of these greater metrics with messaging or change history, or even some of the call details, competitive metrics even, is you want to just have your core metrics in here: clicks, impressions, CTR, what your cost is. If you're trying to drive phone calls, I do always recommend that you have the phone call attributes in here, right, to kind of see what you're calling on. Your competitive metrics, this tells you your search impression share, so how often you are appearing to the number of searches that are out there. So if there are 100 searches and you showed up in 70 of them, then your impression share would be a 70%, right? And your top of position rank is your top of page impression share. Your search absolute top impression means they're literally the top of the page, right? You have lost rank. They've added some of these in here that are a little bit more in depth. In the last one, the search absolute top impression is kind of what they're moving to. Search lost impression means, how much of the rank you're losing. And then it also tells you the budget or rank is these two this is because of what your bid is. Okay. And then the budget is according to what your overall budget is. Like, so if you are losing it because your budget is only $100 and you need $200, it'll say 50%, right? The click share is, what your percentage of the click is. Search net divided by estimated maximum number of clicks. It's very much similar to search impression share. The average position, this is actually going away, but it used to be a very, very important metric, and still really is, because it tells you what position on the page you are, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something to that effect, right? And to add these in here, all you do is just click on them, right? Say I want to add that. Say I want to do attribution. I want to do conversion current model. I can do that, and I can add them into this campaign. I can go over here, move them around a little bit. And if I want to save this set of columns so that I can come back to it, Nelson's stats, right? And I can hit save and apply. And then now what you'll see is within all these metrics. And if you want to deselect this, since I already selected this earlier, again, you just go back to none. This was the segment. But on the columns portion, again, now you'll see in here, I have average position. I have my conversion current model is in there as well. So now those columns are in there. And if I want to go back and make sure, if I go, like I pause out of this campaign and I come back and the stats aren't the same, because I went to the ad group level, and then I want to go back to current call warranty, right? And as we can see at the ad group level, they're not in there anymore. So I can go back to, I gotta go to the campaign level, actually, I'm sorry. I can go back to my columns, and I'll have my Nelson stats, and it'll throw them back in there for me. So reports, it just basically jumps you to the actual report, and that's going to be covered in the next lesson, and subsequent lessons as well. Now, if you want to download any of these stats, again, you can download them in a bunch of different formats. You can even throw them into Google Sheets as well. And if you want to expand. Now, one really valuable feature as well that I always use, and I just want to kind of point this out, is copy and paste. Okay. Now I'm going to show you in one of the bonus lessons exactly how to use AdWords Editor. But these are really good for copying some sort of the campaigns, like for call only ads, right? It's very difficult to create a call only ad sometimes in AdWords Editor. So it's easier sometimes just to copy and paste the ad. And you can do this at any level, right? You can go here, do alcohol dependence. We can just do a keyword, and where's my copy? We'll do it at this level. We'll do an entire ad group. Go there, and copy is all the way at the top. Now copy was at the top of the other one. It just was obviously blocked as that. So all I got to do here is I can do that. Go back to these little 3 dots there in the corner, or you can just hit Control V, and I can paste it. It'll ask me to pause new ad groups after pasting. You know, depending on if you still have some work to do on it or not, you may or may not want to pause it. So then copy and paste. Now that's going to be valuable in any one of these sections, right? You've got your ads portion as well. This houses your ads. It also houses your extensions where you can create extensions. You're going to have some automated extensions as well. Now you'll notice on each one of these tabs as well, whether we're talking about the ad group tab, the ads and extension tabs, the landing page tab, it's not on there because that's actually shows you the URL, but even on the keywords, audience, and demographic, you're always going to have basically a little blue marker there in the corner, right? Now, this is basically for adding additional targeting or editing targeting, right? So what you do is you just click on that, you select your ad group or your campaign. Let's say we want to do it at the ad group level, and we do this, you know, then I can add ad group 3, test. It'll even, let's say I want to look up some keywords to add to it, right? You've got a nice little tool in here, a keyword finder. You can do leads online, generate leads for sale. And then you can go in and you can even gives you a nice key down here at the bottom to tell you exactly how to phrase them in order to make sure to get exactly what you want to do. So if you want to do leads online as a phrase match, you just put the quotation marks in there. If you want to generators for sales, exact, put the brackets on it, right? And that's reflected down here. So that's a nice little key. So you can always remember when you're doing the keywords, you can go through there. Now I just hit save and continue. And it may take a little while depending on what you're trying to do. And not only that, the fact that we're recording and doing this real time is kind of cumbersome. So basically what I'll do here is it'll ask you to jump into a new ad for it. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel on that. But it'll also ask you whenever you're creating this as well, go to here first, you know, if you want to add additional site links to it, if you have some call extensions on the account, you can add those in there. It's got additional extensions. You can add them in here, right? And all you got to do is select the extension. It'll throw it into the campaign. And you hit save and continue. And I've got all my ad groups, you know, duplicated in there now. So that's kind of how you use the copy and paste and some of the other features. Again, all this right-hand side is going to be the targeting and your structural stuff. You've got keywords, your audiences, where you add additional audiences that are in there, which we'll cover that in later lessons, demographics as well. The settings is something we'll cover in the next module, so I won't dive too much into that, but that's, you can have settings again at the account level or at the campaign level. Okay, your locations, you've got your ad schedule as well, where you can set an ad schedule for your ads. Your devices is where you can adjust exactly, you know, what device, tablet or computer or mobile phone you're showing up on. This advanced bid adjustment is something new, and it's primarily for generating phone calls. If you want to maybe bid, you know, 10% more for a phone call, that's where you can throw that in there, right? And we'll cover that more in more of the strategy sections as we go through the course. I just wanted to give you an overall insight of how to kind of navigate the dashboard and where you can kind of set some understanding of where to find certain menus and certain things as we go through the course, as you can kind of basically make sure that you have an overall comfortability with the dashboard. Because to be quite honest with you, that's one of the probably most difficult aspects of Google Ads. So I will definitely see you in the next video, and I'm looking forward to jumping into the report section, the tools section. Tools sections is great with some really, really valuable resources that we can definitely utilize to help us understand and start the campaign. And then ultimately the report section, again, is going to be one of the most valuable sections at all, because no matter what, you always need to know when and where your money's being spent in order to make sure that you can keep putting money back in your pocket. So I'll see you in the next lesson.